So this is what Bob Nightengale wrote this morning in USA Today. Let me just let's just lay this out for you, and then we'll react to it and interpret some of this stuff. But this is it doesn't need a lot of window dressing here. He said 2 weeks ago, Migeul Cairo was summoned into La Russa's office. Was told he'd be replacing La Russa until further notice. La Russa had just been informed by his doctor that something was terribly amiss with the heart readings transmitted from his pacemaker. Okay? He was ordered to go home, not watch the White Sox games, and keep from any stress. La Russa followed the orders, went home, but of course still watched the White Sox. He flew back to Phoenix the next day, underwent a procedure at the Mayo Clinic to repair the circuitry of his pacemaker, which was implemented before spring training. The procedure went smoothly. There was no need for an overnight hospital stay. Okay? He's back in Chicago, awaiting clearance from his doctors, is expected to meet with White Sox officials to determine whether he'll return to manage this season. He didn't say meet with his doctors. He said, these are separate things. He's awaiting clearance from his doctors and is expected to meet with White Sox officials to determine whether he'll return to manage.
Like, there's got to be a risk assessment done by the White Sox.
And their lawyers.
Is
there liability? What would they be on the hook for if he drops dead in the dugout? So La Russa said it's uncertain. A lot of it's going to depend on the experts. In the meantime, it'll be fun to watch them stay in contention. The White Sox, badly underachieving all year, suddenly are virtually healthy and winning. After 5 long, miserable months, the White Sox finally are playing the way they envisioned all along. Migeul Cairo may only be an interim manager, but it was his fiery speech on his first day of the job, the players will tell you, that woke them up, perhaps just in time to save their season. Liam Hendriks said, he told us pretty much, if you don't want to be here, then get the bleep out. It was eye-opening to some guys who really have never been told no. That was Hendriks. Hendriks continued, there needs to be repercussions. There needs to be some kind of a risk and reward. That was one thing that reverberated with some guys. The message really hasn't changed at all for us this year, but it was a different viewpoint, a different verbiage, a different way of delivering. Here's Josh Harrison. Let's put it this way. You can tell your kids something and they don't listen. Someone else tells them the same thing. They get the message. It's put up or shut up time. Miggy has done a great job bringing energy to the team. Okay, that's 2 veteran players. Here's Lance Lynn. Quote, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to get going. You get an opportunity to still make a run for it. If we get hot, we could piss off everybody right to the end. Sometimes it's good to just hear the truth. He, Cairo, pretty much told us that it's time to do this. And if you're not ready, you've got to figure it out. The gist of it now is that we're here. So look at yourself in the mirror and say, what am I doing to help the team win today? Give me everything you got. And Cairo said, I'm just trying to make sure they know they're good. They're really good players. They have so much talent. I told them, don't let this opportunity go by. If you want to play, play. If you don't want to play, sit down and let someone else play.
Who told them that earlier this season?
Kenny.
Yep.
Now, here's Nightengale. No one wants to sit these days. They've been arriving early to the ballpark, staying late after games, yelling at one another, encouraging each other, praying their resurgence isn't too late.
Dan, I want to stop there just for a second because it's a point that you brought up when we were discussing White Sox back in June. And it's the idea of how many of the guys, is there an actual community of players where you talk to veteran players, guys that have retired from the game, they talk about those nights when a card game goes on and guys are just talking baseball and they're in the clubhouse. They're not going out to a dinner. They're not going out to go have drinks outside. They're in the clubhouse. They're learning each other. They're talking the game. These are all things that we were talking about maybe having to happen for this White Sox team to figure out who they are.
Look at the dugout. You can see it. Even an untrained eye can see the differences in that dugout than the dead-ass dugout that was there most of the year.
You see,
Ozzy pointed it out.
You see Eloy looking at video and bringing other people in while he's looking at video. You see Big Hoss, Lance Lynn, saying, "Are we about to fight? If we're gonna fight, then let's go fight." And then everyone taking their cue from Lance Lynn, as Gavin told us a couple of weeks ago about this. Cueto, his impact on the guys inside of that. All of it starts to make more sense. But that particular paragraph where you're saying that you do have guys wanting to be around each other, wanting to be in their environment longer, that is significant.
Listen to the players. Listen to them. That when you hear that from Hendricks, from Harrison, from Lynn, they're telling you what they want. They're on record.
Or maybe
these
they
are not
need.
Unnamed players. This is them talking to USA Today, saying, here's what's different now. This is what we needed to hear and the way we needed to hear it from Migeul Cairo.
I also think that it's fair because we had the joke of the Survivor thing. You know, Parkins and Spiegel were talking about the Survivor thing.
Yeah, with the tiki torches
right.
and the blind vote.
You could do all of that. The players are never on the record going to say, we don't want blank. They're not going to put Tony La Russa on Front Street. They're not going to do that unless he does something that is egregious. They're not going to do that. Even last year, when you had everything go on with the weird-ass Twins, players were really respectful, and what they did is they made it more about we'll be better teammates and we'll take care of our guy, and make no mention necessarily of Tony La Russa. But what I do think, and these are the things that I was thinking we'd hear once it was determined that Tony wasn't going to be the manager of the White Sox.
Hasn't been yet.
Right.
Yes.
That we were going to hear that, or he decides to retire. Then we'd hear, well, there's just a different vibe here in the clubhouse and blah, 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 blah. We're hearing it now because they understand what's in front of them. The White Sox have dug quite the hole. And I will say that it's super discouraging as well as they've played in the last 2 weeks, and they've played pretty well, to wake up and see them in the same place that they were at the All-Star break. 3 games back, still chasing. And what it felt like is it felt like the White Sox were kicking the can down the road. We'll make it up. We'll make it up. And then you say, well, you can say that in May, and it was problematic. And then it gets to June, and you're like, I don't know. Now it's September. You got 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks to make it up. And granted, half of your games are with the weird-ass Minnesota Twins and with Cleveland. But all Cleveland has to do is win 1 game so that they hold the tiebreaker over you. There is no game 163. So it almost feels like 2 games if they end up getting the tiebreaker over you. It's all of this stuff. I really want them to overcome it. I've been thinking about it a lot. It would be such a great story if the White Sox were able to overcome it. And I've had faith in the clubhouse being able to, and probably a little too much faith. But here they are now where they're calling out and they're saying, now we have the right mindset to go forth.
Just listen to them. You can dislike my opinions and you can get mad on Twitter and all that stuff, but listen to Liam Hendricks, listen to Josh Harrison, and listen to Lance Lynn. Listen to what they're trying to tell you. These are veterans from multiple teams, guys who've won stuff. These are old dudes who are explaining why things are different. That Migeul Cairo stood up there and said, you don't want to play, you don't feel like playing, you're not going to go hard, get them out of here.
Yep. And look at where they are. They're 3 games out, they're over 500, they're playing good ball. They've got the Rockies for 2 games, a team that they should beat up on. There's a text like, oh, they beat up on the A's. Right. The problem has been throughout this season that the White Sox have struggled against teams that are not as good as they are from a talent standpoint.
Oh, they've absolutely dribbled games down their leg this year. It's been nearly a calendar year of wasted time.
That's
this hire. And now Jerry Reinsdorf's got this golden parachute in front of him here. Absolutely golden. And is Jerry listening? Is the owner of the team who purports to want to win? The question is he listening to what his clubhouse is saying about what they want, about what matters to them, about what's resonating with them right now? Is he listening? Does he care?
And he can't be blinded by that friendship/loyalty to Tony when there's still a chance. Here's the other thing. Before Bob went into great detail about what's going on with Tony La Russa, I was told this stuff, and I was texting Dan about this stuff from an airport. I'm texting him about Tony and what's been going on with him physically. We asked the players, and when we've turned our ire to the players, we've talked about the concept of, are you all in? Meaning, are you doing everything that you can to try and make yourself a better player and be a better teammate? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you stretching? Are you maybe changing your routine from less weights to more stretching and yoga and things like that? Let me tell you something. That should go for the manager too. Are you doing all of the things that would allow you to be the best version of yourself at this point? And I would say to the manager of the White Sox and to the people that run the White Sox, perhaps you shouldn't be so public. Perhaps if you want to have a nice meal, you could get that at your house. Be as all in as you ask the players to be. Because what I was told was something was up with the pacemaker and he wasn't taking particularly good care of himself. Are you doing all of the things that will allow, like if your goal is to manage the White Sox and try to push them back into being an AL Central winning team, are you all in?
Especially after
a procedure.
And initially after your hire, when it was revealed that there had been some questions as to who people knew what about a second DUI in which you're veering across 3 lanes of traffic and your car is on fire and smoking on a corner, and they had an opportunity to decide maybe we made a mistake here, that they doubled down and stood behind you and said, this is our manager for the opening of the championship window for this culture right now. This is our guy. Doubled down. Are you still doing everything you can do?
And they tripled down because he had the pacemaker put in before the season started. Are you all in? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing everything that you can to be as healthy as possible to make this run? Because there have been too many people that have slid into my DMs from all sorts of places, letting me know where the manager of the White Sox is and what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
We ask a lot of these players, and we ask a ton of them to make sure, like, if we see a guy that's doing a video, or if we see a lot of people been levying charges at Yohan Moncada throughout this season, is the manager doing everything that he can, especially after having a medical procedure that will allow him to manage the White Sox? And if he's not, then he shouldn't be managing the White Sox. The level of expectation for him after this should be as high as it is for players in that clubhouse. And the fact that it isn't, and I get that the job itself is stressful, If he isn't up to doing all of the things that's going to keep him healthy enough to do it, then he shouldn't be doing the job.